Douglas Royal have handed St Mary's a free pass into the second round of the Keystone Law Hospital Cup because they can't play their match against them tomorrow. And they may have also inadvertently handed St Mary's the league title because they were due to play St George's on Tuesday. That game didn't go ahead. St George's got the win, but they didn't get the goals that they perhaps could have scored if the game was actually played.
You're right there, Chris. When I got the information to say that Douglas Royal couldn't play that game against St George's, I looked at the league tables and, at the bottom it didn't really matter goals conceded because there's something like minus 70 that they're way down on everyone around them. So it wasn't as if they were gaining an advantage. But the problem is when I looked at the top of the flight, when you look at St Mary's, Peel, Geordie's, their goal differences are very similar. And I just thought this could cost them a position, which is a shame if it did, and hopefully it won't. But, Douglas Royal have got a lot of players all gone away for this week, skiing. And that's why they're down on numbers and didn't want to play against St George's because the Masters players are having to step up and they just haven't got the legs. And also, against St Mary's, they wouldn't have the legs at the bowl. So they've chosen not to play. It's a shame, but, it's done with. And the points and the cup tie has been handed on to St Mary's. And Douglas Royal will just hope when the players come back over the weekend that they've got enough firepower there to try and get some points away from St John's to try and survive in that Premier League.
Yeah, there are some really interesting first round Hospital Cup matches this weekend where you feel that if they get the rub of the green and everything falls into place, that we could see a few upsets. Foxdale beat Premier League opposition in the last round. This weekend they're up against St John's, who have been faltering as well. Do you expect them to get a win here, or do you think St John's will just prove too strong for them?
Hopefully St John's will prove too strong for them because they've got a massive week next week, so they need to gain some confidence from somewhere. From all accounts, the game midweek against Laxey, they were 2-0 up, cruising, looked pretty good, and then Laxey just could go up 2 gears and St John's didn't have it. So against Foxdale are a good side, that's why they're pushing to get promoted or, get into the Paul Henry. And, it could go anywhere. It's so difficult to predict, but at the moment, you just got to favour the Premiership side, even though they're struggling a bit to win that game.
What about Moran against Ramsey Youth Centre? It's a similar matchup. You've got a Premier League team who have been struggling a bit this season. Moran done excellently to secure their Premier League status for another year, but they come up against a Ramsey Youth Centre side who are vying for promotion, and they have impressed this season.
Yeah, I'm glad you've picked on that game. I think there's 2. I think there's Douglas Athletic against Malou as well. And it's a real pointer for Youthy. They're top of the league. When you look at the points that they've got on the board, it's looking pretty good for them. But they've still got some tough fixtures to come up. So if they can stay in touch, then they could get promoted. And when you look at it, basically without a combination side to be able to feed them because they've lost a lot of games this year, the combination team, they haven't been able to play, then Ramsey Youth Centre would be promoted, and that would be a massive coup for them, to be fair, because when you look at the teams around them, there's a lot of big games to play, Chris, and Malou is the one who are in second place now after that defeat midweek for Pulrose, and Malou have got some real tough fixes, and I think the telling point is going to be that game, Malou against Pulrose, who's going to sort of get promoted. But Moran against Ramsey Youth Centre, Moran are a good side, and don't bet against them. It's a tough game. I think I've got to just edge it towards Moran at the moment. I think the young players they've got there are real good players.
Is this a marker for the second tier sides though, Tony? If they want promotion and they want to prove that they deserve to be in Manx football's elite, that they have to at least be pushing these Premier League teams who aren't exactly setting the world alight. If they can't do that, if they can't compete against these teams, well, perhaps the time isn't right for promotion.
Maybe, but I think when you look at that Premier League, it's tough. Because when you look at Douglas Athletic this year, they probably had their best season in the Premier League, and then you've got your top 5. Old Boys have struggled a little bit, but they're still good enough in quality there. But, Moran have showed when they needed to get some points that they've got them. And when you look at their team sheet, there's some good players in there, very young players. I've watched Ramsey Youth Centre, I think, 3 times this year. I watched them against Ramsey, I watched them against Pulley. They've got some seasoned pros in there that play some good football, but there is a gap in that Premier League 2, Division 2, and we've already seen when the Division 2 sides have got fixtures against the Premier League sides, they found it tough going. So tomorrow, it's a great indicator, that Douglas Athletic Maloo game and the Moran against Ramsey Youth Centre, how strong these Division 2 sides are.
The focus this evening has been on the Hospital Cup first round fixtures taking place tomorrow. I know there's a lot of people out there who'll be desperate for us to cover JCK Limited Division 2 in more detail. One man who is firmly plugging that division is Agent Rashid on Twitter. Tony, we will cover that in more detail tomorrow. The matches in Division 2, Jims against Union Mills and Michael versus Paul Rose. Paul Rose, if they win, will go back into second spot, but it is very, very intriguing in JCK Division 2. Arguably now, the picture has become clearer in the Premier League that Division 2 is the one to watch. But Tony, thank you very much.